strategies do you think manufacturers should be using to build a workforce that's ready for these increasingly automated options?
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank Scott and Nikki for the opportunity to be part of the panel. And congratulations to the MCRI team. Their place looks fantastic. Obviously, I love all the yellow robots that are around the shop floor, so thanks for that. But I asked Nikki to direct this question at me because I feel pretty strongly about it. In my role at FANUC, I see the work of hundreds and hundreds of integrators across all different industries, all different application areas, all different customer bases, and I layer that on top of my early career experience as a system integrator as part of a group at General Electric. And a common thread throughout all of those experiences, it sounds like they should be really diverse, right? But if there's one indicator that I could hang my hat on and say that automation system is going to be successful, it was a sense of ownership with the end user. That there's someone on every shift who feels as though it's their personal responsibility to make sure that automation is running and operating as it's intended, and they're empowered to be able to do that. They're comfortable with the automation. It's like an old friend, you know, kind of thing. And there's a lot to do before we get there. Right, and I'll kind of talk first at the kind of the micro level and then more the macro level. At the micro level, Scott and the MCRI team and others in the integration business, the engagement with the team that's going to be operating and maintaining the equipment, it really is a case of the earlier and the sooner and the more frequent, the better. So that again, by the time the equipment shows up on the shop floor, those employees have been through design reviews. They may have participated in the specification development. They attended the FAT. When that equipment hits the floor, it's like that. I own that. I know how to run that. We're going to be successful with that. So that's kind of at the micro level of the system integration business and robotic integration. Backing up to the macro level, we have a little bit of a problem if we all agree that manufacturing is a critical part of our economy, and we want to encourage people to enter that industry, and that is the perception among younger people that manufacturing is dirty and dull and repetitive and low tech and heat and beat, or however you want to describe it. And we all know, just look around this place. That's nothing could be farther from the truth. So we have work to do together to kind of make manufacturing sexy again, kind of thing.
Yep.
And that can happen, with integrators conducting. I've seen work with internship programs and job shadowing and those kinds of things. FANUC America has an internship program. We have a part of it that's focused on recruiting young female talent, which has been incredibly successful. And then we also have a strong commitment to education to help prepare the workforce of the future. So we've got 1,900 schools throughout the Americas that have FANUC technology. It's not obsolete stuff that we donated for a tax write-off. It's current technology that we're trying to prepare the workforce for our customers for all the reasons I just described. It's all about generating that ownership at the end user, and then that is the strongest indicator for the success of the automation.
Surprise, surprise, girls like robots too. My daughter is 7 and she wants to be a robotics engineer. So I think part of it is definitely just lack of exposure. We haven't really opened up these jobs to everyone, let alone little girls or people that may not have a history in the manufacturing industry, right? It's kind of one of those things that I hear a lot of people, I had someone in the family, right? That's why I knew it was a job and that it was potentially a good one. Although sometimes it's, my family worked in manufacturing in a not so great plant and they didn't want me to have anything to do with it. So I think we have a perception problem. We also have a people just don't know about us problem. So that's definitely important. Anybody else have something they want to chime in on that one?
If you step back and look at the problem, right, it can be pretty daunting. I think there was a story in the New York Times yesterday that said 200,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs right now that people can't fill. These are, the jobs are there already if we had the people to fill them. But I think if you look at it on a more micro and local level, we need to start chewing at it that way. Companies need to make local relationships with their local schools and begin even earlier than we already have into K-12, as my director of education often says to me. How do we begin building that pipeline even sooner than we've already started, with your daughter, hopefully, as part of that pipeline.
Yeah, so a big part of that, I think, is bringing awareness of what our industry does, and I think journalism is starting to, because manufacturing is now a big topic for the general public, right? I'm hoping that more of the mainstream media will start actually covering what we do in more than a Terminator is our future kind of way. So I'm sure Robert would agree, nuance about our industry is actually quite important. But I met one of the co-ops you guys have here today earlier, and it's a pleasure to see students actually get an opportunity to come in and see what this is.
You had mentioned earlier about getting local people involved, so we work with local schools, Terry Community College, Vanguard Sentinel, and University of Toledo, to name a few. And we have kids coming through K through 12 to see what we do here. When we first started, the first 5-10 years, people kept saying, I didn't even know this company was here. And we've tried to really advertise in the community that there's great opportunities in automation. And to go back on at the micro level, Dick, you talked about the plant adopting. We call it a site champion, somebody at the customer who learns everything about the system and can train the trainer, once they get there. And it is a crucial piece of a successful robot system, for sure.